What's going on, everybody? It is David Palmer, Leo King, and welcome to my show, High Vibe TV, where we like to address anything that might be a problem, negative, and find solutions and find positivity at the end of the day. And thank you so much for being here on this awesome Friday, March the 16th of 2018. We got a great show for you today, and we always like to start with my daily thought. Today's daily thought is about forgiveness, which I think is the hardest spiritual evolution that we have to face in our life, because this world is tough. Things happen. People do things that we feel are, wrong. And so we can get upset. But by forgiving them, by forgiving elements of life, whether it's things that God do, whether it's things that people do, whether it's accidents that happen, forgiveness is that moment where you let it go, you surrender to it, and you can move into a place of peace. And when you are in that place of peace, when you are in that place of surrender, when you are in that place where you can release fully, you can have more great things come into your life. You can be in a more positive space. It's not easy to forgive. People do crazy things out there. People try to attack you. People try to put you down. People might even lie or even create some sort of negative aspect towards you. But forgive them. They might not be in the best place in their life. They might be going through their own struggles. And they might be just putting it out on you or putting it out on other people. Because we even have to learn to forgive others for what they do to other people. I think that, it's interesting, especially in the world we're at today. We're going to have to learn, if we're going to all get along and things are going to get better, we're going to have to forgive others for what they do to other people. We're going to have to learn to forgive in so many different ways, and it's the hardest one of them all. I can name you every spiritual modality in the universe, and they'll be hard, but the extreme is forgiveness. Because, of course, we want to battle back. We want to make things right. We want to make things fair. We want to step back into that place of, hey, that's not right. I want to take care of that. Or, gosh, you're such an idiot. Why did you do that? Blah, blah, blah. Forgiveness is extremely difficult. And why is it so difficult? I think that the reason why it's so difficult is because what it does is it forces us to completely remove ourselves from the situation and whatever our ego wants, and however the anger, the upsetness, the frustrations, it's about letting go of all those things. But it's so funny that we can justify those things for being positive when they're not. We can justify negative reactions to things as great things when they're not. And so it's actually, when you get to a place where you know you must come to forgiveness, that's when you know you are stepping into the positive. Now, there are very harsh things in the world that we deal with, whether it's things in our health, whether it's even people who shoot other people or children. There are some very dark things that go on in this world. And somehow we have to dig deep inside of ourselves and forgive them and forgive for what they do. And I know there's going to be people who don't believe that this is even a spiritual practice that should even be used. But in my humble opinion, forgiveness is the only way to move on to other chapters. Because if we don't end up forgiving, we sit in that repetition of that negative energy. We sit in bringing up all those issues, those frustrations, those anger issues, all those things. They just keep piling up. They just keep surrounding us. And forgiveness is like holy water that we shower on ourselves. Forgiveness is us cleaning off the dirt, is a shower. It's removing the negative from our life so we can move on. Because once you forgive, you can move on. You can let go. You can move to the next chapter. But when you don't forgive, you're just stuck in that same situation over and over and over again. And that's going to lead me to today's story of the day. Today, my story of the day starts with my tax guy who I just met with the other day. And we just did my business taxes. But last year, we did my taxes. And every year as a business owner, you do what's called an estimated tax payment to the government and to California, in my state, California. So you can at least have some sort of tax that's paid. So when you come to the end of the year, oh, okay, you paid this much taxes. Oh, you made more this year. So, okay, you're going to only have to cover this much, but you already paid this much. Or if you paid too much and you didn't make that much that year, then you get money back. That's how it works as a business owner. So estimated tax payments are just an estimation based on what you did the prior year before. Well, in 2015, I did pretty good. So in 2016, So in 2016, I had to make some estimated tax payments, and I was like, wow, this is a lot of money. So there were some months where I was like, I'll just wait till the end. I'm not going to pay them, right? Like, I'm not going to pay my estimated tax payment this month. It's too much. It's every quarter, actually. It's like, it was a lot, and I had a lot of things going on, so I didn't pay it, which, you can actually get a little penalty for it, but that's choices I make on my own. So anyways, I get to the end of the tax year last year, and we do my taxes, and everything's great. And I'm only going to owe, whatever it was, a certain amount of money. And so pay that money. April goes by. After I pay all that, I get a letter in the IRS, like 4 letters in the IRS from the feds and from California, all being like, you owe all this extra money. And because of any of your back taxes, I was making payments on a back tax from like 2012 or 13 that I still was paying. It was like crazy because they were going to also forced me to pay that. So it was like, I had like 5 overwhelming tax bills that came onto me last year out of nowhere, like bam! So the first thing I do is I call my tax guy, like, what's going on? I send it all to him and he goes, oh, you didn't pay your estimated tax payments? I actually, assumed that you did. So there I was going like, oh my gosh, freaking out because now I've got to pay all this tax money now. And then on top of it, my back tax, I have to try and find a way for my tax guy to work it all out. Anyways, I got really upset because, I felt like that was something that he should have asked me, so I really got really upset. And the thing about it was, it's like, I had to really be honest with myself, and I was frustrated for weeks. I was angry, I was mad, I was not in a good space. And so, what happened was that issue and the money to get the tax money and to make and all those kind of things just got so overwhelming. It wasn't until not only did I forgive myself for making my own mistakes, but also forgiving him for, like what I thought was he should have asked. He's also my accountant, so I thought, oh, you're looking at all my bank statements. How come you didn't already figure this out? And so I had to learn to release it. And once I released that, to be honest with you, everything worked out. We were able to work things out with my back tax payment, and then I was able to work out a payment plan for 3 months. Every month I had to make a payment of the big amount I still owed, and I was able to make that happen. So it was like, it all got fixed. And so this year, same thing comes up, and I had forgot about that, and I got an email from him being like, oh, did you make your estimated tax payments after we had already talked? And this was the other night. I got that email at like 11:30 at night, and I'm like, oh no, is the same thing gonna happen again? I was freaking, I barely got any sleep. I mean, I did sleep, but you know what I mean? You start running through a million things in my head. So I wrote him like, oh man, I got all crazy and I got all like not upset, but I just started to get really, oh my gosh. Long story short, he had got it right and everything was good. But it's learning to let go of when we think people do things wrong, when we get so upset, because guess what? It's not going to solve anything. It's just going to create the problem even more. And it wasn't until I learned to forgive that, it was like, okay, there it is. Another good story about forgiveness goes all the way back to my high school volleyball days. I was a junior and I made the varsity volleyball team, and I'm not joking. I was on one of the best volleyball teams in the nation and in California, which has the best volleyball teams. And we made it to the CIF semifinals, which is a big deal because in the state of California, it's the biggest state people-wise. And to make it to the CIF semifinals right before the finals for the championship to be the best volleyball team in the state of California. So it was a long trip because normally, you know, the season ends in like May and then we graduate in June. But here we are playing in June and we're playing for the CIF semifinals. So it was a very big deal. And I'll never forget, you know, in volleyball, it's hard because you're on a 6-man team. And everybody serves in volleyball, right? Of course, you can, you know, change somebody out, right? So if like a front row person isn't a good server, but they're a tall person and they're not a good server, and when they rotate to the back to do passing, you can, you know, that's what I used to do when I was a freshman and sophomore. I was that guy because I wasn't the tallest guy, so I was a passer and server until I got tall, and in my junior year, I became an outside hitter, so I could play both front and back. Well, anyway, we lost because of our serving, and there was a guy on the team who missed a lot of his serves, and when you miss your serves, you know, you basically can't score a point in high school volleyball, and even in volleyball you can't, you know, really score unless you get your serves down. You can't win a game in college unless you know how to serve it. It's on a serve that you can win. So long story short, this guy could not serve. Like, it was just like, come on, this is the game of our lives to get to the championship round, and he couldn't serve, and we were so pissed. Long story short, we lost the game because of his serving and his passing, to be honest with you. He was just like the guy that just, you know, couldn't do it, right? Long story short, it was so upsetting because especially the seniors on my team, they had worked everything, and some of them actually went on to college and everything, like and became champions in college and everything. So, you know, it was everything for their careers and and where they were going. And I remember the anger in the bus on the way home. It was like so gnarly. Everybody looking at the guy like, this guy ruined the game, and the whole bus, because you got to remember that we also brought the freshman team with us, and we also brought the JV team with us. So we've got like, you know, 60 people in this bus, 50 people in this bus, and everybody's looking at this guy. And I remember my coach coming up, and I know he was upset too, but he did help us. It wasn't that he didn't point out this person, but I think what he did was he made us realize we have to let this go. We have to let all this anger go. We need to forgive whatever happened, however it is, and move on. And accept the greatness of whatever it is. Because one thing about forgiveness is sometimes we get so angry over the outcome not being the way that we want it to be, when really we have something beautiful in front of us. We made it to semifinals. Like, we're the like third best team in California for volleyball. Like, we didn't make the final, but we made it this far. And I think that in our high school had never made it that far before. So it was like a big deal. And we were so upset that we were not in a place of allowance, because I think the other part of forgiveness is learning to allow the situation to be as it is. So sometimes you don't need to just forgive the person, but you need to also learn to allow the situation to happen, or however it was. And so that was very hard, because throughout sports, I've been on a lot of team sports, and even as a swimmer, you actually are only an individual in swimming, but you're on a swim team. So the whole team has to swim well, or else you lose the meet. And then you could join relays, and then there's always a relay where, you know, like there's butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, freestyle. You know, that freestyle leg or that breaststroke leg or even the first leg, sometimes there's a weak link, you know, and then you can get really upset if that person had a bad start, or that person had a bad flip turn, or that person didn't finish all the way. You're like, oh my gosh. And I think that you have to learn to forgive in those situations too, because if you're carrying that on forever, then you turn into Ray Finkel, like in Ace Ventura, who just laces out, you know, the whole time, and then you become a psychopath, you become crazy. And actually, that's what happens. Believe it or not, when you choose to not forgive or not allow situations to be whatever they were, however negative that they were, you actually start to become crazy. You actually start to become negative. And that's when the dark side can take you over. Resentment comes out. That's the opposite of forgiveness. Jealousy, rage, psychotic energy actually comes out when people hold on to these negative energies for too long. it's important to be careful of that. To pump you up today, it really is simple. Nothing that is happening in your life is happening against you. The number one thing that you need to remember is, however circumstances happen, there's always tomorrow. There's always a day to change the way that it is. There's always a new minute in front of you, a new second in front of you, a new opportunity to change the way things are. Now, there's some times where it might be your last race at the Olympics. It might be your last project or art gallery or whatever it is in life that you are doing that you didn't finish the way you want to, or it didn't turn out in life the way you want to, or you're about to lose your legs and you're not able to walk anymore. But there are so many new situations in front of you to make it worth your while. It's just like Stephen Hawking, who just passed, you know. I mean, that guy, let's be honest, he did not have a very good situation, and look at what he made of it. I mean, to be honest with you, that's like one of the worst situations to be in, and he made the best of it. He made the most of it. And not only did he teach people, but he showed us a way and showed us so much more to life than we realized. And I think we even looked past his condition and looked at him for who he really was. Because he wasn't in a place of resentment. Because he wasn't in a place where he was feeling like he was screwed over or that there was some sort of thing. He had the ultimate place of either forgiveness or just even allowance of his own whatever. If I think we're the outside people who saw it as a condition. I don't even think he saw it as one. I think he saw it as a way, and I think it was just recently I read that the reason why he thought it was a blessing to him was because as a scientist in the community, you usually get caught up in having to do term papers and you get and teaching and all these kind of things, where he was able to just sit there and use his mind to think out complex problems, which was exactly what he's always wanted to do in his life. So the situation for him actually was a blessing, and he used it as a blessing to use compound, really crazy algorithms and things that normally a normal scientist wouldn't have the time or the energy or the schedule to do, and in his position was able to do that. So I think it's important for us to learn that if we have that allowance, if we have that forgiveness, then we are able to find the greatest solutions in the world, but also probably align with more of who we really want to be and the better part of what we can do with our life. I don't know if you know this, but every day I do a video on futurelife.tv, and it's not only your daily horoscope, but I do weekly horoscopes for your sun signs. I do a daily tarot pull. We also have 11 other practitioners on there doing everything from love and relationships to health and wellness to tarot cards, angel cards, more astrologers as well. Make sure that you check it out at futurelife.tv. It's on the website, and you can get your 7-day free trial. We also have an Apple app. You can check that out at the App Store as well. And I will see you in the next minute or so. Hi, Grandma. How are you? Oh, I'm doing good. No, I'm eating really healthy right now in my life. Lots and lots of vegetables. Yeah. And potatoes too, you know, they're vegetables, aren't they? Yeah, no, I'm eating healthy. I feel really good. Yeah, I'm in shape too. Oh, my relationship, Grandma? Oh, it's going great. We're really connected right now. No, I mean, the love's there. She's no, lots of attention. We really have really interesting conversations too. No, yeah, don't worry about me, Grandma. It's going good. Oh, my dreams. You know, you don't have to worry about my dreams. They're always coming true. Yeah, financially, everything's going good. I've got everything I want, the job I want. Yeah, everything's going good there. Future life? What's that, Grandma? I know, I'll follow your advice. What is it? It's a new app? I'll check it out. Future life.
Future life. Wake up to your future like you've never seen before.
Welcome back to High Vibe TV. I am your host, David Palmer King, and thank you so much for being here every day, Monday through Friday. Now, this is where I do my challenge of the day, and today's challenge is not only to look for something in yourself that you need to learn to allow as it is, as Stephen Hawking did, but another challenge is to look at anybody in your life who has upset you or done something where you're still holding some sort of resentment, to find a way to let that go today. Release to them, pray to them, tell them that you're sorry. You don't even have to tell them, just tell God, tell the universe, tell your soul that you're sorry, that you're over it, and let it go. And see what happens in that area. See how things work out. You know, I think that this is a time in which we're in a world where the world is trying to always bring out, look at this, let's try and go against this person, and look at how I was wronged, and look at how this person did this, or whatever that might be. And usually it's just people who are in a really harsh emotional place and they're not in a very positive vibration and they have difficulties getting there. Forgive them for that. They're working on it. It's a lot like somebody who has a hard time running, you know, and it's like, and this goes back to old stories, but I was in the military and, you know, it's hard when we have to do 6-mile runs in the morning in the snow. Like, there were people who couldn't make it who were throwing up, you know, and then we'd get in trouble and be doing push-ups for it. And I had to forgive them. I had to learn to let go of that. That they, you know, they're not there yet. They can't get there, but you know what? In the next couple weeks, maybe they'll get there. In the next day, just even that, maybe they'll get there. And same thing with people who are very upset and trying to, you know, do all these things to make people, you know, upset, or trying to prove a point, or trying to prove that this person's wrong, or that, all these crazy things that people do. Let them do that. Eventually, they'll find a way to come to positivity. Eventually, they'll find a way to come to a secure place in themselves. Because when we're in a place of forgiveness, guess what? We're in a place of security. When we're in a place of allowance, we're in a place of security. When we're in a place of freaking out, who's done this? This person did me wrong. This situation was not right. This isn't good for me. They're horrible. Guess what? That's in a place of insecurity. And we all go there. And I think that we all have to allow ourselves and forgive ourselves for the insecurities that we have inside. But more importantly, we have to allow ourselves the forgiveness of ourselves for being so angry, for holding on to these negative emotions, for holding on to these negative thoughts and beliefs, and the things that we can do to try and harm other people. And I think that we need to learn, if we can forgive ourselves for that, we'll find the ultimate security in ourselves, which will feel much better and rooted in the universe. For my closing thoughts today, I want to say, security is the best way to get to God. Because when we're in a secure place, when we're in a proper, peaceful place, we can listen from the messages from the universe, from Spirit, from God, and we can look at things from a very positive aspect. When we are erratic, when we are angry, when we are not in a good space, when we are resentful, when we are in a place where we want to doom somebody else or harm somebody else or try and get back at somebody else, you know what that is? It's insecurity. It's not one connected with the divine. It's not one connected with God. And it's important for you to make sure, you know, especially in today's world where there's so much rebellion, right? When there's so much, you know, of people trying to rebel against what people are doing and what we should do. It's a very tight rope, I know. And I know that there are things that people feel that they need to express and that they need to change or they want change. But I'm sure that there are ways to find positive solutions to things in positive ways, because when we try and meet things with negatives, when we try and meet things with throwing things at people or throwing hate at people or throwing negative aspects of people, you know what that is? That's not doing anything positive. And what that's doing is taking not only yourself back, but what it's doing is it's not putting you in a secure place to be connected with the divine, to be connected with the positive, and to allow the good things into your life. And if you want good things into your life, if you want positive things to happen in your life, you're going to have to make peace with that. You're going to have to make peace with whatever's been done wrong to you. You're going to have to make peace with however that you might feel in anger and resentment and whatever that is. If you can't make peace with that on your own by allowing it to be and without shoving all of your crap and shoving all of your anger out to the world and onto others or to the people that have done it to you in your own way, because you got to remember that this is your own reality. It's your reality. It's your reflection of what people do to you or what people have done to you. It's your own reflection. And I know that's the hardest one to give because it's connected to allowance and forgiveness, is when we realize and we feel we've been wronged by God or another person or a job or a universe. It's a reflection of where we're at in our own inner securities. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being a part of High Vibe TV. I please ask you to share these videos, and you can find us, of course, on Facebook at High Vibe TV. Thanks so much for all your support. Truly appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you back on Monday.